Whispers of change the unfolding drama in Ivory Coast. The news arrived suddenly. Ivory Coast. Holding its breath. Tense. Unconfirmed reports started to circulate. A coup? The president removed? Nobody knew for sure. Then the internet connections dropped. Silence. Information became a precious, hidden thing. Verifying facts felt like searching in the dark. A nation and a continent waited for clarity. The air crackled with an uneasy energy. Volatility was the word on everyone's lips. Initial reports painted a chaotic picture. Government buildings, symbols of power under attack. The situation was shifting constantly, by the minute. Fear and hope wrestled in the public square. This was more than just a news story, it felt like a turning point, unscripted. The story of Ivory Coast was just beginning. Echoes in the streets. Africa reacts with jubilation. As uncertainty gripped Ivory Coast, something else happened. Across the vast African continent, a different sound emerged. Not of fear, but of celebration. People poured into the streets in various nations, dancing, singing, expressing a sudden shared joy. It was a surprising, powerful wave of emotion. This wasn't just about one country's leader, it was about a feeling that resonated widely. The celebrations told a story of their own. They hinted at a deep, long-standing dissatisfaction, a frustration not just within Ivory Coast's borders, but a sentiment felt by many across Africa. The joy was a release of pent-up feelings, a collective exhale, hopeful and defiant. This outpouring of emotion, continent-wide, it showed how interconnected Africa truly is. Events in one nation can touch hearts in many others. A leader under scrutiny. Grievances against the Ivorian president. So why this widespread reaction, this continental cheer? It seems there were many grievances, long held, against the Ivorian president now allegedly removed. His leadership had been under a harsh spotlight. Accusations had been piling up for some time. These were not just quiet whispers in corners, they were growing louder, more insistent daily. A trust deficit had clearly been established. One major point of contention stood out sharply. His alleged support for attacks on Burkina Faso. This was a deeply troubling accusation for many. Neighboring countries felt the sting of this directly. It undermined regional stability. It sowed discord. Africans often see themselves as one family. Betraying that sense of unity cuts deep. It eroded faith. It built a wall of resentment. The dissatisfaction, therefore, was not sudden. The missing president. Rumors and uncertainty swirl. With the president's removal being reported, the nation was thrown into a state of confusion and anxiety. A new question immediately arose, one that seemed to have no clear answer. Where is he? What has happened to him? The uncertainty was palpable. Rumors began to fly, thick and fast, each more outlandish than the last. Some said he was in hiding, somewhere inside the country, perhaps in a remote location. Others whispered he had already fled, seeking refuge abroad. No official word came, just more speculation. The mystery deepened with every passing hour, leaving the nation in a state of suspense. A missing leader creates a dangerous vacuum, one that can lead to chaos and instability. Power, once concentrated, suddenly seems dispersed. Who is in charge? Who makes the decisions now? This uncertainty can be incredibly destabilizing, shaking the very foundations of governance. For the people of Ivory Coast, it meant more anxiety, more questions, and fewer answers. Would there be a peaceful transition? Or more chaos? The uncertainty was unbearable. The silence from the top was unsettling, leaving the nation in a state of limbo. It left too much room for fear to grow, for rumors to spread unchecked. The stories of his whereabouts were many, each more speculative than the last. Each one painted a different picture. A leader under duress, a nation on edge, and a future uncertain. Section 5: The Shadow of the Past. Africa's stand against foreign meddling. This drama in Ivory Coast isn't just about one leader, it's part of a much bigger story. A continental story. There's a powerful, growing sentiment across Africa. A feeling that it's time to stand tall, against foreign interference from anywhere and everywhere. Be it from America or Europe, especially France, or even from powers in Asia. The feeling is strong. Enough is enough, the people are saying. For too long, Africa has felt the weight. The heavy hand of outside influences, colonial-era systems still lingering. Still shaping lives. There's a deep yearning to dismantle these structures, to break free from old chains, old ways of thinking. This isn't about isolation, it's about true partnership. Partnership based on respect, not on dictation. Section 6. Unmasking interference. The fight against external exploitation. Hand in hand with rejecting influence comes another belief, a strong suspicion, held by many ordinary Africans, that foreign interests have often funded chaos. That instability has been deliberately sown. Why? To make it easier to exploit resources, to keep the continent dependent, weak. This isn't just a conspiracy theory for many, it's a lived reality, a historical pattern. Think about it, Africa is incredibly rich in minerals, rich in talent, rich in potential, yet that wealth hasn't always translated into prosperity for all its people. Instead, it has often attracted unwelcome attention. Exploitation dressed up as investment, or aid. The narrative of foreign hands stirring the pot. It resonates because it often feels true. Section 7. A Continent Awakening, the Quest for True Self-Determination. The events unfolding starting in Ivory Coast, they are being interpreted by many as a wake-up call, a loud, clear alarm bell for the entire continent. It's more than just one country's political drama. It symbolizes a collective shift, a new energy, a determined move towards genuine autonomy, a powerful desire for true self-determination, the kind that is earned, not just declared. This isn't about rejecting the world, not at all. It's about Africa defining its own terms of engagement, seeking African solutions for African problems. For too long, solutions were imported, prescribed. Often they didn't fit, or they came with strings. Now there's a growing confidence from within, a belief in African ingenuity, African leadership. The continent is finding its own voice, its own way. Section 8, Political Chessboard, the disqualification that fueled tensions. To understand the current volatility in Ivory Coast, we must also look at recent political events. The country has been on edge, with tensions simmering just below the surface. Just last month, in April 2025, a key decision was made. This decision has had far-reaching consequences. Prominent opposition leader Tidjane Thiam faced a significant setback. His political career, which had been gaining momentum, hit an unexpected roadblock. He leads the Democratic Party of Ivory Coast, PDCI, a party with a strong following and a rich history in the nation's politics. A court barred him from the electoral roll. This was a big blow, not just to Thiam, but to his supporters and the democratic process. This meant he couldn't run in the October presidential election, a race he was widely expected to be a strong contender in. A move that sent ripples through the political landscape, causing unrest and sparking protests across the country. The court's reason? His nationality. This decision was rooted in a technicality that many found controversial. Thiam had acquired French citizenship years ago in 1987 during his time abroad. Though he renounced it in February 2025, the timing was deemed too late by the court. The court said Ivorian law is strict. It leaves no room for exceptions or leniency. Presidential candidates must only be Ivorian. They must never have held another nationality, no matter the circumstances, and must never have held another nationality. The decision was final, no appeal possible. This ruling was a definitive end to Thiam's presidential aspirations. This instantly heated up the political climate. The streets of Abidjan and other cities saw a surge in political activity and demonstrations. Thiam, understandably, was not happy. His frustration was palpable, and he made his feelings known publicly. He called it democratic vandalism. Strong words that resonated with many of his supporters and critics of the ruling party. He accused the ruling RHDP party of trying to sideline strong opponents. This accusation has only added fuel to the already blazing political fire. Section 9. Africa's Dawn, a new chapter of autonomy and hope. This is a story of resilience, of a continent rising to reclaim its destiny. So what do these events in Ivory Coast truly signify? They are more than just political shifts. They are the heartbeat of a nation yearning for change. Beyond the immediate chaos, the uncertainty, lies a deeper narrative. One of hope, of a people ready to forge a new path. They are seen by many as a symbolic moment. A moment that could redefine the future of not just Ivory Coast but the entire continent. A potential turning point for the nation. A chance to break free from the chains of the past and step into a future defined by its own people. And perhaps a reflection of a wider continental shift. A shift towards unity, towards collective strength. A decisive step towards greater autonomy. Towards a future where African voices are heard and respected. A clear statement of intent. An unwavering declaration that Africa will chart its own course. Africa is charting its own course, now, with determination and a vision for a brighter tomorrow. The path to true self-determination is rarely smooth. It is a journey filled with obstacles, but also with immense potential. It is often marked by challenges, by setbacks. Yet, these are the crucibles in which resilience is forged. But the spirit of a people once awakened is powerful. It is unstoppable. It is the force that drives change, the desire for dignity, for respect, for control. These are universal aspirations, deeply human. They are the foundation of a new era. What we are witnessing is Africa's renewed claim to its own future, to its own narrative, a narrative rich with culture, history, and promise, written in its own languages by its own hands, crafted with pride and a vision for generations to come. This is not just about rejecting foreign influence, it is about embracing a new identity. It's about building something new, something enduring, a future that is truly African.